to a meeting of the Board of Education, Somerset Hills. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the Board are open to the public and media consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, and that advance notice required therein has been provided. This is a meeting of the Board of Education of Somerset Hills at which formal action may be taken. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda. Would you please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have been in executive session, so I need to move on to correspondence.
None.
None. Next would be the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. So tonight we have several recognitions, and I'm not sure if Coach Brothers is with us. I'm not sure. Oh, great. Yes, he is. I can see you there. I'm sorry. So we are first going to recognize a wrestler, and we're very excited because that's been a program that really hasn't been highlighted as much as some of the other ones. So Coach Brothers, we're very proud of the job that you've been doing with wrestling, and we'd like to invite you up here because you're going to recognize and celebrate Alex.
Hello.
There you go.
Great. All right, well, we had a magical wrestling season this past 2016-2017. Alex Mastronardi here was my captain the past 2 years, and this year we accumulated 19 wins, which is goes number 2 all time in the Bernards High School wrestling history.
Yeah.
That was due to this guy, Alex's leadership, and he was just amazing with the kids. We had a very young team. On that team, we had 4 starting freshmen, 5 starting sophomores, 2 juniors, and 3 seniors, including Alex. And he was just amazing working with the kids and acting as like an assistant coach for the last couple of years, and just had an incredible bond and relationship with all the young wrestlers, and really stood up and led by example. Individually, he was amazing. He accumulated 75 wins over the last 4 years, which is quite an honor and quite an accomplishment. This past season, he was a district finalist, lost a very close match to an amazing kid who qualified downstates a couple of years from Del Val. It was a 1-point match, so came in second, which advanced into the regionals, which was extremely difficult to do. When he got to the regions, he finished 4-2 in the regions. He ended up beating a Somerset County champ in the regions, a couple of district champs, and along his other notable victories, he ended up beating 3 other district place winners, district champs, along that amazing run. So close. Again, he finished with 22 wins personally, which is again an amazing accomplishment. And one of the matches which would have propelled him to the Atlantic City for the state tournament, he ended up falling 2-1 in a close, like, double overtime match, and that boy ended up going all the way to the whole thing, winning the tournament. So it was peaks and valleys, highs and lows, but he ended up 4-2 in the regions, which is absolutely incredible. And again, as far as quality of a person, he's just the absolute best. He just decided on he's going to be going to University of Delaware. Just made his decision today. He applied to 5 or 6 fantastic schools. Got into all of them and picked Delaware. GPA's about a 3.7 and change, and he can go with the best of them. As far as test scores, as far as anything with the books. But this guy's well-rounded. He plays 3 sports. He was captain of the football team, captain of the wrestling team, one of the a huge asset on our lacrosse team, leader on and off the field. And this type of a person is someone that's going to do amazing things out there in the workforce. Someone that you'd love to work for, and someone that absolutely you'd love to have work for, come and work for you. His character's the best, and he's as tough as they come, and again, well-rounded and so well-deserved. I'm so proud of him, so congratulations, Alex.
Congratulations. I know I saw it on the tweets. I said, oh my God, look at that. I can't believe that. Great job. Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, Turner.
Thank you.
Cheese. Got it, thanks.
Excellent. Great job. And next up, we have Coach Lister and the ski team. And we have a special treat.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Because the ski team is another one of our sports that isn't quite, it's not highlighted quite as some of the others.
Exactly.
So this is excellent because every year we seem to be expanding.
Exactly.
Right? Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Yes, it is.
So we have a little video, which I so enjoyed watching.
Can I say that till the end?
Oh,
Then I highlight
yes.
my kids? Okay.
Absolutely.
So, for my,
Just use the microphone.
okay. All right, is it working?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have my Bernards High School ski racers that are here? If you can come up. I think we got 2 out of the 4. Come up, face, yeah, you can stay right here. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Lister, and I am the co-head coach of the Bernards High School ski race team. In high school ski racing, the Race of Champions is the individual state championships, which is a separate event from the team state championships. The top 40% of all high school racers, whether they come from private schools versus public schools, or large public schools versus a small public school like Bernards, are invited to compete. The selection is based on a racer's cumulative results over all conference races. So not only do you have to be good, you have to be consistently good, and you have to be versatile, because the results of both the giant slalom and slalom races are taken together. I am proud to announce that this year Bernards had 4 racers qualify for the Race of Champions, which is the most we've ever had at Bernards. And not only that, but this year for the first time, we had 2 boy racers qualify in the same year. And to give you an idea of the level of competition that we faced this year we got put in the conference with Bergen Catholic High School, Immaculate Heart Academy, and Don Bosco Prep. Immaculate Heart Academy and Don Bosco Prep were the defending state champions this year. We would not be anywhere near as successful as a team without the help and support of our athletic director, Mike Hoppy. He's been an invaluable resource to our team this year. And as Dr. Wood was saying, I can show you what the Bernards ski race team is like. 2 Bernards high school students that are in Coach John's class, right, John? Gabby Thurticus, did I pronounce that correctly? Yep. And Laurel McHale, they made a video of the Bernards team, and this was taken at the Team State Giant Slalom race, the Team State Championship Giant Slalom race, which took place back on February 24th. It was 74 degrees at the start of that race on February 24th. Yeah, so. And firstly, I would like to thank people who helped set this up for me. Because I said I'm a dinosaur when it comes to technology, so.
You can't touch it.
Oh, all right.
So it's a
Yes.
short video, but
It's about 3 minutes, about 3.5 minutes, but it highlights how good Coach Sim does in his class, because I thought I was watching ESPN. Now can I just tap on it twice?
I believe so. just click on it.
Okay. There we go.
How has the season been for you personally? It's had its ups and downs. You think you've improved? Yes. And how do you think the team has done overall? Well, girls made it to states. And guys are pretty good too. Didn't quite make it to states, but we have 2 guys in the race of champions, which is a record for the school. We've only ever had 1 guy. What kind of challenges have you come across mentally or physically during the season? Skiing can be scary. And getting over the fear of leaning forward down a mountain and going really fast can be difficult at times.
I think I did pretty well.
What kind of challenges have you come across mentally and physically this season?
I don't know. Just physically, sometimes it can be hard just going like skiing every day, trying to get sore and everything.
How has the season been for you personally?
It's been fun.
Approaching the finish, number 2 burner, on course number 2 burner, and then the start number 2 Blair, Chloe Rayer.
It's been fun.
Conditions are like really bad, but yesterday I was going down and I fell.
We don't think you need to see the video. Call that the superintendent in me. But we wanted to show you the video because the ski team doesn't really get a lot of
Because we don't,
highlights.
right,
But
because
it
we're
was
not
great.
here.
Yeah, it was great to see them.
Yeah,
They were
it
actually
was.
coming down. the
Yes,
mountain.
yes,
So.
exactly. So thank you, Dr. Wood, for allowing us to show that. Thank you, Coach John, for sending me that. The timing was perfect. And please tell those 2 girls they did an amazing job. So this.
So the infusion of curriculum,
Yes,
athletics,
exactly.
in authentic instruction. So
It really is, exactly, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you want to take a
It's great.
picture?
Yes. Photo op.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Say ski.
Ski.
Got it.
Thank you.
Great job, great season. And now we have Coach Suzuki and the swim team.
Hello. Thank you. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wood and the board for giving us this opportunity. This has been a fantastic season for the swim team. This is my 3rd time in front of the board. Well, the swim team's 3rd time, my 2nd. So I want to start out by thanking my assistant coaches, Tom Lawson, who isn't here tonight, but Coach Albanese, please come on up here, who is here tonight. I get to call her Christine, gives of her time voluntarily. She's been doing it for how many years now? 4 years as a volunteer. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your involvement. And I would like to echo Coach Lister's words about Mr. Hoppy, who's been supporting the swim team so enthusiastically for more years than most of you swimmers have been alive. Because I've been coaching for 29 years now. So swim team, come on up here, please, all of you who are here. I love bragging about this group of student athletes, and I'm going to start by pointing out probably one of the reasons why we are actually not asked to be here tonight, but you may not know, even though I know Bernards is a very strong school academically, we have 30 out of a roster of 37 swimmers who are scholar athletes here at Bernards High School. Yeah. So to me, that's one of the most important accomplishments. I imagine that a lot of the accomplished athletes who are in this room today, not just the swimmers, are probably already on that list, but I'm very proud of that fact, so swimmers, keep up the good work. Now the reason why we're here is because this was a storybook season for Bernard Swimming. It was the first year that the girls team and the boys team won the Skyland Conference Raritan Division Championship. They were both 8-0 in the division, and went on to the state sectional championships and took the state sectional title in North 2 Group C for both girls and boys. First time ever in Bernards High School history for even one of them, but to get both of them at the same time was just unbelievable. Third opportunity. The first opportunity was early in the season. We got to honor Izzy Picone for her school record in the 400-meter freestyle. The second time was to honor Ryan Van Dyke, who set school records in the 100 breaststroke. We have a few more records, though, that we set this year. Jessica Snyder, as a sophomore, broke the school record in the 100-yard breaststroke. Concluded the season with two more records. Most points career and most points in one single season. So that was a new all-time high. And the last record, Matt Voigt, most points per season on an at least 2-season average. Of course we keep all these stats. Followed right behind by Joe Keel. So both Joe and Matt Joe's a freshman, Matt's a sophomore, are on track to take down Ryan's record. Most career points. But a lot of it depends, obviously, on how many meets you have in a season. Like I said, this season was just unbelievable, not only winning the conference, not only winning state sectionals, but then having another meet to go on to the all groups. We did lose in the first round, and like our champion wrestler, we ended up swimming in the first round, the winner of the entire division. A tough loss for us, but still an unbelievable season. So, congratulations, swim team. So proud of you. I hope we get another one like this next year. Closer so we can get a better photo. Like 2 layers deep, maybe. Let's get shorter people in front.
Being done in the state. Yeah. What'd you say? The Mariners state. They ended up being done.
Should we be as a big player? She wants to be. You got it. You think so? What's this?
Yeah, but you guys are going. Go ahead, go.
Very nice.
Look at Mary. Look at Mrs. Snyder.
Your head's in the way, Don. Can you put your head down?
1, 2, 3, cheese!
All right. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Okay. Go Burnersville for the summer.
I'll be in touch. The light. Video.
Yeah, they have video. Oh, slideshow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, all right. So the second half of the superintendent's report is a presentation from the Bedwell School. As you know, we've been highlighting each of the different programs that we have in the district, and it's been a while since we revisited the garden program over at Bedwell, and we thought that this was a great opportunity to do that. So we're fortunate enough to have Dr. Panic and
All these years.
and I'm sorry, you know what, I'm like drawing a blank because his name is Mr. McCarron here tonight, yeah. It's like, what sport is he? Sorry, because I'm looking at her and thinking, okay. So, Mr. McCarron, right, Ms. Ferrante, yes, here too, I'm really making a mess of this Bedwell thing. And I apologize.
That's Amy Fallon.
It's nice to be supported, so I'm sorry, Jim.
You want me to just come up and start with this?
Yes. Do anything to get in this work.
We actually, go ahead, we'll let you do the introduction. Dr. Panic, you be the official.
Okay, I'm Meredith Panic, I'm the school psychologist at Bedwell. I'm also,
I don't need a mic, trust me, I don't need a mic.
what do you need?
That's Mr. McCarron.
There's no mic. Do you want me to hit the slideshow? No, go ahead. So I'm Meredith Panic, I'm the school psychologist at Bedwell. I'm also a parent in the district. Jim Karen is the art teacher, and we have two parents here who are on our great team through the HSA, China Goldis and Jen Skiara.
Yeah, Board of Education, thank you for giving me the opportunity and giving everybody, all four of us, the opportunity to present the Bedwell Garden. I think it's going to be informative for you. There's a lot of work. You know, as I teach children all the time, sometimes I'll start, you know, even on an art lesson, I'll start a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And that's what it seems like it's how the Bedwell Garden was created, because Mr. Thurlow, if you know Mr. Thurlow, who's the tech teacher now currently with his fourth grade class, probably getting close to a decade ago now, we decided to start a garden at Bedwell, and it's just growing from there. So let me get you to the first slide. I gotta put my glasses on. No.
Next, right there.
All right, there you go. So if you look at this, in the course of the last day, I was going through the garden pictures and saying, where have we come from? We are fortunate enough that it's just grown and grown and grown from one raised bed in the middle of the Bedwell School. And it's funny because, to be honest with you, a lot of the Bedwell school community, our own parents were trying to push it because every so often you go, there's a garden at Bedwell? And they don't even know it. And then you try to, we're here to really push the whole garden so that not just the people at Bedwell know about the garden, but the whole Somerset Hills community knows about this wonderful, phenomenal opportunity, great thing that we have going. So if you look at here, we started over the course of 10 years ago with a chef grant. You always got to start with a chef grant. That's how you always have to start everything. And we started with a chef grant, and we raised $3,000 to make our original purchase with the chef grant. Since then, I've applied for multiple grants. We got a $5,000. I won a $5,000 Lowe's Toolbox for Education grant. We applied multiple times for the HSA grants, and they've given us multiple money. There's a garden club in town. The Garden Club of Somerset Hills has given us money. Toshiba American Foundation, that's a math and science grant that I applied for a couple of years ago. And even though I'm an art teacher, they thought that the garden was such a phenomenal idea, and it's really for earth science teachers, that they gave us money for that too. Our food services, obviously, this year for the first time has given us a donation to go towards it, to help get the seed and keep the garden funded and going. And the HSA giving tree, and I can't thank the HSA enough for every year I put on the giving tree, you know, I'll put on Home Depot gift card, or I'll put on there a gift card to the farm, or I need trellises. So 2 parents on the Giving Tree this year wound up buying us new trellises because our trellises are getting old and rotting. So that brings us to where we are today. So if you went to the Bedwell Garden right now, you would notice, if you look, not very tall. If you look over here, you see our greenhouse coming in here. We have tables. The garden, what you're going to see in the next slide, is divided in there. In this section right here is we call it our Victory Garden. And I love that because I get my VFW, my veterans involved. And one of the things that I'm hoping that they're going to do out over here is the VFW has already told me that they're going to put a flagpole. I haven't told the Board of Education yet. But they said that if I can get it approved, that they will put a flagpole in the garden. And we talk about Victory Gardens. I talk about Victory Gardens with the kids too. First thing I'm going to start with talking to you about is this section right here. We have 30 raised beds. Most of the beds that you see there are 4 by 12. And we have 30 raised beds out there, or they're 4 by 4. And with that, we have the first section, which is that. When you saw that aerial view right there, you'll see, once again, if you go on Google Earth right now, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see our school. And if you look right here, we have a greenhouse right here. That box right there is, I have a greenhouse that I just haven't had a chance, or the funding yet, to put up. We have a second greenhouse that's just sitting there waiting to be put up at the Bedwell School, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes money. Then we have our 30 raised vegetable beds. That's our vegetable garden now. And then the next section right here, you see it's native New Jersey. I was just brainstorming one day, and I said, let's divide the garden up into different sections. I think he's Mr. Heumann. Is he still around, or did he pass away? Heumann, the former custodian at the Bedwell School. He's no longer here, right? Mr. Heumann, the former head custodian at the Bedwell School, God rest his soul, many years ago on Arbor Day, they were throwing away the trees. They were in the garbage. He took the trees out there, and all the trees, just so you know this, it's like a piece of Bedwell history. All those trees that you see out there is because he took the trees and he planted them in that area right there. So the pine trees that you see there were planted trees from Arbor Day. And the goal for this section right now is all native New Jersey. So the whole idea for this is eventually someday right over here I'd like to put a gazebo in. And the whole concept of this section is when the kids want to go out and study New Jersey, everything that was here 500 years ago before Columbus came to America and everything else. So just everything that's native to New Jersey. And then eventually right here I want to build a wall going across here. And this is our secret garden. It's our butterfly garden, our secret garden. Miss Crowley loves that space. She'll take the kids out there. You'll hear more about this later. And she'll go out there. She's gotten mats, and she's used her HSA money to buy benches to have the kids come out here and read outside. Because the library door, there's a door right here that goes right up to the library. So the Victory Garden. What's the Victory Garden? When you look at this picture right here, this is an actual picture that I took with the vegetables that we produce at the Bedwell School. So that is the kind of vegetables that you see. If you look at the garden here, you can get more of a earth view of the garden. It's a labor of love. I've never come to you to hit you up for, I hit you up for a lot of things. I negotiate with half the people on the board. I hit you up for a lot of things, but it's a labor of love. I can't thank, right off the bat, besides Dr. Paddock, there's a handful of teachers and the 2 moms that are up here right now. I cannot thank them enough because this would not look like this without the help of a small handful of parents that we have here. So off the bat, I have to thank my moms that are here right now. Get the next slide. Now, when I did this, when we started this garden, the first thing you gotta know is why do you do it? Well, the kids love it. When you go outside, these kids, we get all caught up in our modern technology. We seem to forget that these kids love playing in the dirt. They love playing in the dirt. So I would take the kids out there at recess time. By the way, every one of these beds, yes, I screwed the beds together, but every ounce of dirt that you see in every bed was wheelbarrowed in from the outside of the underhang in the back of the Bedwell School to every one of these beds by Bedwell students, by Bedwell 4th graders. So they completely filled those beds in there. There's some of our potatoes we grew last year. This year I started saving for the food services. From the summer, the kids come out in the summer with me, kids that are at my art camp, kids that are taking different camps, kids that will just come in, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and we harvested over 75 pounds of potatoes. I stored the potatoes in potato sacks, and when we started back up in September, I brought them on the first day of school right into the food services, and they used those potatoes with the food services. Everything that we grow in the garden is organic, completely 110%. We don't use any chemicals, any pesticides, anything else in the garden. So if you look right here, just some of them, I mean, I didn't even give you to divide the species down, but we grow potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, string beans, cucumbers, summer squash, peas, zucchini, eggplant, onions, and there's a lot of other vegetables. Potatoes alone, this year we grew four, my Irish comes out, four species. My ancestors are proud of me. I can grow potatoes. Four different species of potatoes. Probably 20 some odd species of tomatoes. 22 species of tomatoes. Peppers, multiple, 10 different species of peppers. String beans, cucumbers. 3 different species of cucumbers I can think of. 4 different species of summer squash. Peas. Eggplants, 3 or 4 different onions. We did yellow onions, and I harvested all the onions this year for the first time too. I saved for the food services too. So yellow onions, Bermuda onions, red onions, and white onions. So we stored them all summer long. And the first day, once again, just like potatoes, I brought all down to the food services. So all that fresh produce is going right into the kitchen as being used with the kids. Next one, thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. So just a beautiful picture of the garden right there. There's our harvest. The kids love in the summer when they come in to help me to harvest the potatoes because they basically turn the dirt over and then they're just amazed by turning that dirt over and seeing those potatoes come out of the ground. Like, oh my God, because the plant grows up, but you don't see your fruit of your labor that you've done by planting it still underneath the earth. Greenhouse. We have one greenhouse. This is our greenhouse that we have now. The greenhouse is great. You look in this greenhouse, my mom's going to talk to you later about a tomato sale that we have. We grow all of our own tomatoes from seeds. And then we'll also have a tomato sale that they'll talk to you about. But having a greenhouse, you know, I go around to other schools, we talk about gardens, and when they see pictures of our garden, they can't believe what it looks like. And not only that, when they know that we have one greenhouse, when I tell them, yeah, it's like, I have another greenhouse I have to put up. They're just amazed that we have this. And just having the greenhouse extends your growing season and makes sure that we can grow all these tomatoes and help support the garden. Native New Jersey section. So what was the goal of this? As I said, you know, we have all the native species out there that we're doing. Everything that you see on those mounds, a lot of the species on the mounds is just things that just blow in. Some of them we need to pull out because Dinah is becoming a master gardener right now, and she'll tell you, get rid of that, get rid of that. I don't even know that. I just get that has to go. But the whole purpose is when I did this, my concept is eventually I'd like to put a shallow water pond out there, a very shallow pond out there, and so that there's a living aspect to the native New Jersey section too. And the way I'm designing it, the way it's being built is that when the original garden section was laid out, we had an Eagle Scout for his project that skimmed off all the grass and laid stone for his Eagle Scout project around it. That's why you have all that stone in there. It was the Eagle Scout project. So what we did with the New Jersey section is we took that dirt and we created raised mounds. The reason being because when grass and wild grasses and stuff grow on that, you know, with the raised mounds, they'll grow to be about somewhere between 4.5 feet tall. So you think about this, to a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old, they can't see across that. So it gives them a sense of being out in the wild and being out someplace else other than in their school center courtyard without being there. So this is our new one. This was just done. Graham Brady, if you know Graham Brady, this is Graham Brady's Eagle Scout project that he just did for us this past fall and winter. That's a beautiful cedar arbor that he built for us. And what he did is, that's the slide over here on the right. That's the New Jersey section, and those are the trails. So eventually you're going to have there's two trails that go around there that lead to the arbor on the other side. So the trees in the middle, past them is the arbor. So once we create more raised mounds and we add some more to it, to really give you a sense of being in the wild. So we have Boy Scouts that come in and do their Eagle Scout projects on this garden. So there you go. When it's in bloom, that's what it looks like, and that's what you're looking across. And we've had Nantucket daisies blowing, so it's just a great way. Once again, it's another great learning outdoor classroom, a great place for the kids to go, a great place for them to have fun, a great place for them to draw, a great place for them to read. The secret reading garden. So eventually the goal was, when I thought about this whole concept of the garden, is the secret garden. We all know the secret garden. So right here, when you look at this section right here, eventually I want to build a wall going across here, and I want ivy to grow up the wall, and I want to have a nice big white gate so the kids could go there. So it's like 3 different zones. You have 3 different classes out there, all have a different reading. Miss Crowley has bought into the garden. She has maps for the kids. She has put benches out here in the secret reading garden. It's another great spot. You know, we could all read in the library, but to take them out on a beautiful day and have them in a secure, safe center courtyard, because all 4 sides are enclosed. Take them outside, safe place, go outside and read. In the summer, HSA, I applied for HSA, one of my grants from the HSA. The HSA bought us that cart right there. That is the cart I saw online, and it's our vegetable cart. If you look right here, we have a little drop box. So anybody in the community, so one of the ways that the garden ties in with the community is because all summer long, the first couple of years after we started doing the garden, and I started doing the garden, so much of the vegetables and fruit were just rotting away on the vines. So people come in the summer, small group, the 4 of us come in, let's cut to the chase. The 4 of us come in the summer, the 4 of us come in the summer, and we basically, I'll go out there, Dr. Paddock does this, Mrs. Phelan will tell you, we'll go out there, we'll pull the vegetables, and we put them on the cart, and it's open for the community to take. And we don't charge anything, it's a drop box. You put in there what you think, you put in there what you think that you should pay. It's all organic, and you can see the kind of stuff that we put out there. And what happens is this, by doing this money then, we use back to keep the garden. So we're trying to get to a point where the garden is self-sufficient and the garden funds itself. We are not there. We're not close to being there. I can't thank Mrs. Fallon all the time. I have to thank Mrs. Fallon because she puts up with me in all my endeavors. And all these great, she just lets me run wild, and honestly, just lets me go with it, whatever I want to do. So thank you, Mrs. Fallon, on that one. So now I get to stop speaking and pass it along to Dr. Paddock. That's why she has the doctor title in front of her name, and talk to you about educationally how important this garden is.
So my part in this presentation is to talk about how we use the garden to supplement our education at the Belleville School. And I'm going to really just highlight a few of the areas of the ways that we use the garden, because I can't possibly talk about how the teachers use this day in and day out to help the students. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So the garden functions as an outdoor classroom. The teachers will go outside and do read aloud to the students out there when the weather's nice. And it's really amazing. They're out there reading. They do turn-in talks. It's just a fabulous place for the kids to go outside of the classroom to go out and do their independent reading. It also supplements the curriculum across the grade levels. So kids are doing math out there. They're doing reading, they're doing writing. They're using the garden as a writing prompt when they're practicing their writing in the classroom. It's going to be tied into the new science curriculum that's coming out next year. I had the pleasure of sitting in on the PD days with Grant Comer, learning about the new science curriculum across all the grade levels, and I know the teachers are really excited as the curriculum is written this summer to kind of include the garden within that curriculum writing so that it can be used more in detail throughout science as the next year as that's unveiled. It's a therapeutic environment for students and staff. Some of our students sometimes need a place to kind of calm down or relax, and the garden, when it's in the warmer months, is a fantastic place to kind of go out there and do that. Our teachers will eat lunch out there. They'll have their team meetings out there. It's just another opportunity to go out and enjoy it and to relax out there while they're working. We offer the technology art show there in the spring, as well as our garden open house. So what the students with Mr. Thurlow and Mr. McCarron will do is take pictures of the plants out in the garden and then showcase them. And we'll have a garden open house to increase awareness of the garden for parents in our district who aren't as familiar with the garden as this school is.
And the art show is right in the garden.
And then we're hoping to implement an evening with the stars, where we have families bring in telescopes and we can look up at the star constellations while we're in the garden at night. And that's something that's kind of in the works possibly for the spring or next fall. Something that we'd like to take a look at.
That was between Mr. Thurl and myself, because he has all the iPads, and he has the apps on the iPads, like Stargazer and everything else, that you can also hold up and see where Mars is and Venus and everything else. So that's something that we'd like to do. I may bring a fire pit, but you didn't hear that. Put it out there. So there's a little
I didn't hear that. Another way that the garden is used as a resource for students with special needs, and of course this is an area that is near and dear to my heart. We use the garden for pre-vocational exploration. We have a student who is interested in landscape design, and this student and some of his classmates are coming down there, and they use the garden to kind of help foster this interest, to explore for a possible, future life skill. We also use the garden to teach functional life skills. So some of the students from the high school will come over, and they'll use this to incorporate into their reading, their writing curriculum. They use it for sequencing. They'll pick a recipe, plan out what they. They did, they cooked. They planned a recipe, they picked what they needed, they came over, they harvested the vegetables that they needed, they took them back and followed the recipe and made a product. So that was really amazing. We also use it for sensory activities. We have students who may need some heavy lifting, and they'll come over, it kind of helps to regulate them. So they'll come over and they'll help us work in the garden, carry soil for us, do some planting. That helps with some of the sensory activities that are needed. It has cross-curricular benefits as well. And it also is used in our extended school year program. So we have an extended school year program there in the summer where some of our students come back to maintain skills that they have, and they use the garden to kind of help them across the curriculum with reading, math, and science as well. The garden is also used for community service and outreach. It's a location where some of our middle school students will come over to earn their community service hours that are needed each year. I have 2 Girl Scout troops, and there are other troops obviously in the town, and they will come over, and we'll extend it out to them that they can come and use that to fulfill their community service obligations as well. They'll come and they'll weed and they'll water and they'll harvest for us. And as Mr. Mack talked about earlier, the Boy Scouts will come over as well and do their Eagle Scout project.
And there's actually a third one happening. Mrs. Fallon just signed off on a third Eagle Scout project to take place in the garden.
Before we go past this slide, that's one of our teachers releasing butterflies in the butterfly garden. We didn't want to pass over it. We didn't have a label on it.
No, I'm gonna have to say one more thing before you get started. I don't need them. My 2 moms there are about to speak, and I said it before, but I really do mean this. One of the things that I wanted to bring them here is because they're on their 3rd child each that's about to graduate to Bedwell School, and without them, yeah, it was my idea for a lot of the garden, and I work hard in the garden, but for as much as I work hard, I have these 2 moms that will give just as much time as I will, give just as much time, go out there and sweat in 80-degree weather and help weed and water and create, and their vision is just so important to me. Once again, I just can't thank you enough with that.
So our portion of the presentation is to tell you a little bit about why we are in the garden. And Jen and I have been part of the HSA Green Team at Bedwell for the last 5 years in one capacity or another. So the Green Team was formed in 2012, and that was right about the same time that we were looking at applying for the Green Ribbon Award that we did actually get. We were very instrumental in putting together plans to be able to complete the pillars that we had to complete for that application. And we had different events that year. We had a lot of volunteers that first year. And as you know, we do have the green ribbon, and it does hang out in our lobby. And so some of our responsibilities since then, and every year since then, I guess, is we are the 4th grade Green Team liaison. So for those of you that may not know, we help keep the 4th graders on task to recycle juice pouches and also snack pouches in the cafeteria at Bedwell. And we did receive a Clean Communities grant 2 years ago? 2 years ago. And we were able to purchase these really cool looking recycling bins that are very colorful, have stickers all over them, have big signs that we helped them design, and we are recycling like banshees. We have great aides in there now that help us and tell the kids why they need to recycle, and we do think it's very, very important, and it's a passion. So every 2 weeks we go and we empty out the juice pouches and the snack pouches. We divide them into 2 different boxes, and we send them off to TerraCycle to be recycled. We, from the HSA Green Team, thank the green team every year for helping us do this. And as a prize, when we're able to get them, we do give them a recycled pencil case made out of those juice pouches, which everybody thinks are really cool. And my daughter still has one, and she's in 7th grade now, so just starting to come apart. So we do cafeteria recycling. We have had programs within the last 5 years promoting green learning and green programs. We had a couple of assemblies where the performer that came in used all recycled materials for all of his instruments. And he talked about why it's important to recycle, talked about the earth, especially around Earth Week. So we like to continue to try to get those types of programs in there as well. We decorate and stay on top of the rear and the front courtyards. We have now, over the last 5 years, collected a lot of seasonal decorations that we use. We also have the green team and their kids come help us to do that, so that when you approach the school, since we do have a lot of great green spaces, you can kind of smile, and now you'll see there's a lot of flowers out there whipping around, and we have things in the trees. So that, in addition to bulbs that we've planted over the years, we've tried to prune back some of our trees. We really think that's one of the important things also for the school, is when someone approaches, to make it put a little smile on your face. And that's also why we decorate the garden cart on the off season, or at least we try to. Again, just to give you that awareness that we are still there, we care, we want it to be green, we want it to be happy. And then we also worked on anything and everything that has to do with the inner courtyard. The butterfly garden, the native species, and the produce garden. No one else to say. So, why a butterfly garden? And most of you probably know, but I just wrote this out. Monarchs are quickly disappearing, basically due to loss of habitat. So are pollinators. When we first got together as a green team in 2012, we had a lot of very enthusiastic parents that said, hey, if we have this place, can we do that? And so we put together a plan. We found, I think the next place, but let me, we found a space. And so the purpose, not just to save the butterflies or save the pollinators, but the other purpose also is to use that way station as kind of a center for citizen science for the students. So there's a lot more interaction that we can do. We haven't personally had as much time to do that type of interaction, but the Monarch Watch Network is out there for the kids to go through and look at taking observations, looking at how the milkweed's growing, doing a lot of data collection where they basically can become citizen scientists and share that information with basically everyone that's on the migration route in North America, which we think is pretty exciting. As I just mentioned, we don't just attract monarchs, we attract pollinators too. We have lots of different species of bees and butterflies, and we have birds too, especially in the native area. Go ahead. This was the space that we started out with. So as you can see in the picture on the left, there was a small vegetable garden that I believe some of the staff had started. We had a lot of ornamental grass out there, and it was a space that wasn't really used much, but that pathway goes between that far on the right-hand side.
Mr. Crowley's.
Right, the far right-hand side of corner of the right picture is the white door is the exit to the library. And then on this side where the pictures from where we're standing is a door into the hallway right by the nurse's office. And this is what it looks like today.
Wow.
I think we took out some of the really step-by-step, but we basically, what happened was when you get a lot of enthusiastic people out that love planting things, and when you get a lot of perennials out there that need to be divided, we started out with that little plot on one side, and then we slowly kind of crept over to the other side too. So now we have both sides of that pathway. We take care of the plantings that were already there, and we have added to both sides because as a registered Monarch way station, we put a little dot on the map, but butterflies don't really know borders. So they really use that whole space, including the vegetable garden and the native area. So
What's the next program, Butterflies Without Borders?
So this is what it looks like. This is I think late spring going into the summer. And then at the end of the summer, you can see we have a lot of work after everything decides that it's going to go into the fall season. But we bring a lot of the pollinators. We have a lot of milkweed. We followed the habitat curriculum, if you'd like to say. So these are a little out of order. So this is what it looked like before the last picture. And as you can see, we spread. So I went to a school garden conference a couple weeks ago, and this is a diagram from the National Gardening Association. And basically it depicts that any and every subject in school can be tied back into a gardening project. It says gardening project, but can be tied back into gardening. Why do we go out there? I'd say Jen and I go out there not because we want it to look beautiful and we love gardening so much, but we really go out there for that final product. When you see the kids go out there for whatever task they are, whatever class they're in, the look on their faces when they get to see a butterfly fly, or they start chasing after one because they want to catch a picture, or digging in the dirt. When we had the 4th graders take the kindergarten buddies into the garden, it is just amazing. And you can't put a price on that, and that's something that we think is just really, really important. And the next slide. We have our tomato sale next week. So all those varieties that you see in that picture right there, we'll have on sale in front of Bedwell per donation. So we would love to see you all there.
So just to finish up, we're happy to present this to you right now because we want the Board of Education to know what's going on with our garden. We want you to see it. We want you to come out. We have a free tomato plant for you if you actually come out to the Bedwell schools. My moms are like, bring them all a tomato plant. We'll give them all a tomato. I'm like, no, make them come to us and come see the garden for themselves. So with that being said, gardens are hot right now. You can go all over the web. If you put in school garden right now, gardens are hot right now. Schools are building school gardens. We are so far ahead of the curve when it comes. I'm going to tell ourselves. We're so far ahead of the curve. We want you to know that. We want you to know that. I really want you to come out there. I really want you to see it because it's just such a great opportunity. It's a labor of love, and we have put a lot of time and we put a lot of effort into it. We want you to see it because when you meet, I want you to think about how else can you help us do this project. If I jokingly say this, and I said this in the meeting with Mrs. Fallon. If we leave right now, the 4 people you see up here leave, what's going to happen to that? So we need you to help us buy into the garden, get other teachers. I'm asking my Board of Education to help get other teachers to buy into the garden. Think of ways when you have your own meetings. Anything we could do, any way we could tie this into the curriculum. I think it's great. We did this because we love it. Now it's time to take it to the next step, and for you guys to help us and the community to help us take it to the next step so everybody can appreciate, because we are. There's no other school. There is no other school that has a garden like Bedwell. Yeah.
Master gardeners are leaving. What do you have?
So that's one of the reasons why we're here tonight.
I know.
Because my moms, I beg, I plead them. They're just like, I won't fail you. But I do need to get the HSA involved, and we do try to get other people involved. That's the hardest part. Sure.
Some of the things that we're doing to address that, our HSA has been really supportive. That we're having a garden steering committee and HSA committee level, and having ongoing planning and vision for what we want to see happen in the garden. I have student activities teachers, advisors who work with the green team. We're going to rework some of that, so we're going part of that stipend will be going towards an after-school
Oh, good.
club to get kids to come and help us work in the garden, especially during the seasonal times of the fall and spring. And then we're going to keep working and coming up with ideas. You know, I can't thank this group of people up here enough for where we have gotten to from where we started when there was that one lonely little bed. And I truly believe that we wouldn't have not gotten the state and national Green Ribbon Award without the garden. And when we received that reward, when we went down to Washington DC to receive that award, we were the only public elementary school. They were charter schools with an environmental focus. There were private schools like Willow. We were the only public elementary school that had a program like this. And if it wasn't for the garden, we wouldn't have that. So we are also going to have a Green Team Liaison come on our HSA Executive Board. So there's some things that we're looking to do to try and support the great work that's been done and having to continue forward.
Good. Thank you.
I promise it'll be brief. I just want to say that this is such an asset that not only the school has, but the entire community and the entire district. And to Jim's point, this truly is a school that has something that no other school in this state has. We have had representatives from other schools come in just to look at our garden. We've been asked by the Rutgers Extension Services to talk about our work on this garden. I personally have somebody who was a science teacher up at Walk Hill Valley High School who unfortunately passed away. Their school is trying to get the Green Ribbon Status Award right now and put a greenhouse and build a garden in his honor. This is such a special and unique feature for this entire community, and everyone should know about it. So.
All day.
And on Friday too. We'll be there Friday as well, because it's a Thursday.
You know, when you look at the tomato plants that we have out there, we do. So we didn't even talk about, we wound up buying 2 grow labs. We have 2 giant grow labs. Now I'm not just talking about the ones you just put on a table. They are literally 4-rack giant grow labs that are in the hallway outside my class. A lot of this is done at recess. A lot of what you see is actually done on my recess. It's my prep/lunch. That's when I maintain the garden. A lot of the things I do is that, and it's after school. Those are two main times that we do it. So I have a group of kids. There are kids that will come in every day and work in my classroom and work on this. And they planted, every tomato seed was planted with the help of the students. And they're there, and I actually, you know what, I forgot to put on there. Today, as they were doing, I'm like, let me take some pictures to put on today. And they're all on my phone right now, but the one thing I left off there is the pictures of the kids actually planting the tomato sales. So next week, yeah, all those tomatoes that we did, it was all with the labor of love of the kids too. And so we say it's a labor of love amongst us. It's also a labor of love amongst the students because they love it. And anything that you could possibly do to help promote it would be great. Yes.
What is it that you need to build that other greenhouse? You have the material you need?
I have the greenhouse sitting there. So that is last time, and he was so good to us, Pat Riley, who's a local contractor in town. He donated all the labor. All I had to do was pay for the materials and the foundation and everything. So it's about $750 for that other greenhouse to get up. You know, right now we have some money, but you know, once again, we still have some grant money left over and different things like that. The base would probably cost about $750 to build that greenhouse. So if that's
so you need the labor and
well, you work every. Hey, I'm an art person, you know that. So we work every avenue we can. If I hit Pat up again, I'm hoping that maybe he would donate his time, or some other contractor would donate their time to the school. We paid for it. We basically paid for all the stone because the way you do it is. He built a 4x4. You could lay it in the grass or on the. He built such a sound base for us. It was 2 layers of 4x4s going all the way around and filled in with stone, so that the water drains out of the greenhouse too. So it was just built so beautiful. And he matched the stone inside the greenhouse to our stone that the Eagle Scout laid down too. He found the exact same stone, because I didn't know where the Eagle Scout got his stone from at that time. Alex Rondella, who's another Bernards High graduate, so 2 Bernards High graduates so far. So that's basically what that would take to get the other one up. And the whole purpose of that one is what we want to use that one for is native species, to grow our own milkweed. Besides, we have one greenhouse dedicated towards plants and our vegetables, and have another one dedicated to native species. And when we have our tomato sale, maybe down the road we have a milkweed sale too, because that's what we need to do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And I know
Thank
Fred's
you.
here. I'm sorry, Fred, we should have let you go first.
No. I'm sorry. Vincent, talk.
Well, it really is quite an honor to follow Mr. Mack's act there. Because just yesterday I was sitting in his art class, and it makes me feel kind of old to see that, because none of that was there when I was at Bedwell. So just like it sounds like Bedwell students have been making great use of the garden, we've continued to make great use of the media center in the past month or so that it's been open. I understand many of you had the chance to go tour it a couple weeks ago during the opening ceremony. Since then, we've gotten the Bernards Mountaineers murals up, and that's definitely added a personalized touch. Some of the scheduling kinks early on have been sorted out, and I know I certainly use the space anytime I can get past, and I know that's the same for a lot of students. We also have the language lab that's been opened up. I had one at my old school, and that was a great asset to our foreign language programs, and I know there are a number of training sessions going on now for faculty members, so that's definitely a great addition going forward. In terms of other student life-related highlights of this past month or so, we had our class clash event the day before spring break, which is similar to a traditional pep rally, only with less of a sports focus. Last year's student council started it. It was an initiative we brought to Mr. Nigel, and he supported it. And that's a great way to boost school spirit, again, outside of sports. We also had our Distinguished Speakers Night. I know Mr. Catelli was instrumental in organizing. I couldn't attend, but I really wish I had. And I think that's another great way for students to have access to something that attaches what we were learning in the classroom to the real world. We also had Pops Night last night, actually, which was a fun event for members of the Bernards Choir and Madrigal's singing group. They do a great job. They spend a lot of time practicing, so it's neat for them to get recognized. This month has also been a big deal for about a quarter of the Bernards High School population that's going to, the senior class that's moving on to college next year, as we're hearing back about college decisions. Most everybody will know by May 1st where they're going to college, and I think it's just a reminder of how remarkable it is that at our school such a high percentage of kids are going on to college. That's definitely not a given in public school in New Jersey. April's also been a big month in the sporting world, as you got a taste of that there. Another highlight was the girls' lacrosse game. It was recently televised against Ridge. We beat them 10-9, which was all the sweeter. Our track teams are running in pen relays tomorrow, which I know is a highlight of many of their careers. It's an all-day event that Mr. Shostak, who's also a history teacher, is leading. We're also very proud of Caroline Barada and Dan Mayer, both of whom have been recognized at past meetings. They were recently awarded the Skyline Conference Scholar Athlete Awards, so we're definitely very proud of them. In terms of extracurriculars, the Crimson, our school newspaper, won a number of prestigious awards in the past week or so. And then also our Green Team hosted Battle of the Bands, which is a long-time event. They made over $1,000. I think there were about 10 groups that performed. So that's big for them. They're responsible for keeping our courtyards clean, promoting sustainable opportunities around school. So academically, the biggest event that's on the horizon for us students are AP exams. Those are coming up these next 2 weeks. It's definitely a stressful period. It helps that after students take AP exams, they get to go home for the rest of the day, so they can get the rest up. Another thing that I know was recently amended was the final exemption policy for seniors. And I know that as a senior, that's definitely very nice. But I think it also does give seniors the incentive to keep up their work ethic with the goal of trying not to take a final in addition to an AP exam. We're also extremely proud of two current juniors, David Oliveira and Mary Bertoni, who were just admitted into governor's school, which is really hard to do. I'm very proud of them. We also have our NHS induction ceremony, an annual event that's been going on for decades now. Both a chance to say goodbye to this year's senior NHS class and to celebrate the accomplishments of incoming juniors. So along those same lines, I'd like to touch on academic support as kind of my emphasis of this month's report. NHS does offer a number of free tutoring sessions to kids of all grades, and I know there are more kids who want to be tutored than there are tutors available, so that's being used a lot. Teachers also go out of their way, especially before big tests or the AP exams, to hold nighttime or afternoon review sessions. That's obviously something they don't get paid for, that we're extremely grateful that they do. One thing moving forward that, especially with the scheduling committee, to consider is the idea of a unit lunch or a smaller number of lunches where students would have opportunities to meet with teachers. I know my sister goes to another school where they have that, and similar to a college professor having office hours, it's a good opportunity for students to get to meet with teachers and get extra help. And last of all, in response to Mr. Baker's request at the last month's meeting about having more students come to the strategic planning meetings, I know there were 7 or 8 kids who reached out to me representing a pretty wide spread of grades and backgrounds at BHS. So hopefully they attend those meetings and get their insights. That's all I have for tonight, and as always, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is the tutoring opened up to anyone else other than National Honor Society students?
Yeah, so National Honor Society, it's a group of about 50 seniors, and they're the tutors, and then any student, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior who needs help can sign up with a teacher.
Saying, can any other seniors who are not, or any other students who wish to help students, is it open up to them to help the kids who are needing tutoring?
Not officially through NHS, but I know definitely unofficially there's certainly a lot of collaboration between upperclassmen and underclassmen.
Frank, can you explain about the lunch time, how you wanted to block it out?
Yeah, so I know obviously it's a challenge here, we're limited by space and the size of our school, but the idea of somehow having all students having lunch at the same time, perhaps for a longer period of time. Right now we have 4 lunch periods, maybe reducing that down to 2 or 3. That way, because currently most teachers are teaching during your given lunch period and it's hard to have access to them. Whereas if there were a single lunch period where all teachers were free that period, all students were free that period, then there'd be those opportunities for students to seek help if they needed it.
Thanks, Freddie.
Thanks,
Great
Freddie.
job.
The next item on our agenda is public questions and comments. We very much welcome input from the public. Public comments are welcome at this time on agenda items. Towards the end of the meeting, there will be a second public forum on any topic. Please state your name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on a topic have been heard. Please understand that our public forums are not structured as question and answer sessions, but are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. In instances where the board feels that there is a misunderstanding or inaccuracy, the board president or superintendent may address the comment. In accordance with New Jersey statute, the board will not discuss matters regarding specific personnel. Public questions and comments will be limited to 30 minutes. Thank you for your input. Before we open it up to questions and comments, I just want to make a statement about some questions that came up this past week about our last meeting and a question about a cut policy. We're not going to be discussing or changing our policy at this time regarding cut policies. It was something that was brought to the curriculum committee at the last meeting and was brought to the full board as a possibility of looking into a cut policy. There was some discussion of the board, but nothing has been decided as to implementing a cut policy, because that was referred back to curriculum for curriculum to decide or discuss it further with a recommendation to the full board, which would then have to go back to our policy committee to change our policy. So we're not tonight making any changes or making any plans to make any changes unless there's a recommendation that comes out of our curriculum committee for us to make a policy change. So that would take, in order for us to do a cut policy or to change our policy, our current policy, would take a number of meetings and a lot of discussion and public input. So I've been receiving some emails, and I think other board members have also, so I just wanted to make that clear that we're not at this point discussing making any policy changes. So that wasn't a recommendation, it was something that was brought to the curriculum committee. They brought it to us at the last meeting. There was some discussion among board members, but nothing has been finalized as far as implementing a cut policy. So with that said, I'll open it up to public comments and questions on agenda items.
Good evening, Board of Education. Joseph Folia, President of the Somerset Hills Education Association.
Lynn Weltler, President-elect of the Somerset Hills Education Association.
We have a petition signed by a large number of our staff expressing concerns about AmeriHealth and Brown & Brown. And I'd like to give you a copy of what's on the petition. Read it.
You have to, you can't give it to them.
I can't give it to them?
No, you have to go through, you're supposed to go through the superintendent and the board.
Okay, I'm taking it back.
So just give it to me, is what I'm saying.
Okay, and you'll hand it.
That's, yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Just because we're in public data.
Okay. Here you go.
We notice on finance, agenda item 5, that you're looking to make a change, you remove AmeriHealth and replace it with Aetna. We have concerns because we really don't know what's in the Aetna plan. We found out about this within the last 24 hours. And we asked the board to get some sort of dialogue going so that we can understand this new plan. This is a very important part for our members to their medical coverage. So we do have concerns about it, especially the classification of the plans, whether it's a point of service or a PPO. And again, like I said, we just found out about this in the last day or so, and we're asking you guys possibly not to vote on replacing the AmeriHealth with Aetna until we have some dialogue and maybe we can work out some of the issues, because I surely don't want to have more litigation about this.
I think Joe spoke to the points, the concerns that we have. We've had quite a few members coming to us already regarding this and coming with different information, looking at Aetna's website. And again, I would ask that before you do vote on this, that you table it until the association and the board can have discussion on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Public comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll go to finance. Oh, sorry, approval of the minutes. I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 22nd? Someone? Janice, second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. DeGiacchino?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lees?
Yes.
Mrs. Tobler?
Yes.
Ms. Virtue?
Yes.
Ms. Birch?
Yes.
And Ms. Capella?
Yes. Okay, finance?
The Finance Committee did not meet this last month because of illness and some other conflicts. But tonight is the budget, so we have a public hearing on the budget. And I'm asking, does anybody want the PowerPoint to be shown again? You all saw it last time. Does anybody in the public want to see the PowerPoint on the budget? Seeing none, we'll dispense with the PowerPoint then.
The information was in a handout to
Was
the
a handout,
public,
right.
but I would certainly entertain any questions on the handout.
And the only change on there was a slight change on the budget. We just put $10,000 in the expenses and the revenue. So so the bottom line is the same. It's just
The taxes are the same.
We also will be, like Mr. Foley said, we're voting on a healthcare change, and so I'd like to move items 1 through 9. Do I have a second?
Yes.
As far as discussion goes, Joe left. So, anyway. What?
Evelyn's still here.
Oh, she's still.
I'm just here.
Okay. Just so everybody understands, we went to quotes. We went to get quotes on the healthcare, and we got 4 quotes. And we've been working on this for 4 or 5 months. And we looked at the cost. The board's going to save $143,000 by changing carriers for this coming year on July 1st. If we don't vote on it tonight, we would have to stay with AmeriHealth for another 6 months. And everybody would pull their quotes, and we'd have to get new quotes next December. And I don't know what they would do. So it's very important that we do this tonight, in my view, because we've compared the plans. They are quoted as a PPO and a POS and a high deductible plan. They are equal to or better. So I think this information, they're looking at websites, our brokers talk to us, I think we're fine. So I'm recommending that we vote positively to make the change. Any other questions from the board? Seeing
No,
none.
no, any questions or comments?
Okay, sure.
Finance has worked very hard, and I appreciate the extra meetings, and I do still have some very serious concerns on some of our spending, where we're spending it, how much I've asked some questions, and I'm going to leave it as simple as that. I have some frustrations where we're not making cuts, where we can't. I believe we can consolidate in different areas. I believe we can take that money and put it more to use where it's directly benefiting our kids. I don't want to get into specifics now, but I have 2 more years on this board, and I will keep pounding away at that. And at some point, someone's going to listen, and we're going to make some changes. And I'm not one-dimensional. I'm multidimensional. I've been in education as a teacher, coach, educator for 41 years, and I do know a little bit, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I will be voting on this budget, yes, on this budget, but again, I have some serious concerns. I believe the people in this community want to see us being fiscally responsible. I'm not saying we're not fiscally responsible, but I do believe we can do better. The next few years are going to be very critical. We have increases in, set increases in 80%, between 70 and 80% of our budget in salaries, and we're capped, as everyone knows, at 2%. And with increases coming at us from every angle, at some point, it could be a train wreck unless we're very careful in how we plan and what we do. So that's all I just have to get that off my chest.
Any other questions or comments?
I have questions about the budget again.
Yes.
Because I do a comparison of the numbers in Bedminster and here. So the tuition here is just the Bedminster tuition, because the house is mixed.
Yes.
So this is just Bedminster. So the for the 17-18, it's what? It's almost, it's what? 4,687,500. That's the number, right?
Yes.
4,600,000. Okay. Is there any way we could just put that there? Just put Bedminster by it with tuition, since it's only the Bedminster tuition going forward?
What
Isn't
reason?
there tuition from some other students?
So, yeah, there's very small amounts.
Very small.
That is actually the Bedminster number, because I think I put the other
You have
ones
something
on the other, under other, yeah.
So we could just, but,
Yeah,
and I've asked that at Bedminster too, because they had enough money.
it's up to the finance, yeah, if they want to do it, it's fine.
Is it okay with you?
Well, let's get the next finance school.
Let's ask them then. I had another question on, and I'm just gonna make the comment on 4 again with the payment of bills. When I review the bills, it's all combined, and when I vote now, I vote on the total amount of bills, and again, I only supposed to be voting on what applies to district and high school. So we do have to get that separate because of the logistics of what I'm supposed to vote on. Okay.
Is this broken? Is this broken?
No, no, that's
So, Nancy, are we staying for health care?
Okay.
Because I'm like,
Are you ready for this one?
Any other questions or comments?
Now, I just want to clarify what you said about the healthcare being equal to or better than the plan, the existing plan. Because that's what I would be concerned about, but as long as you're telling me that it is.
Well, we have a letter from Aetna stating that. So they gave us a letter, and it was in your packet you got a month ago, or 2 months ago. If you read that, it says, right, it's equal to or better, and that's all. Contractually, the board is required to do with Shea and Shaw.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call?
I just want to mention, on the roll call, Monica, I put down 1 to 9, because although 6, 7 and 8 are not starred, they're actually high school.
7 and 8 are?
Yeah, there's some, 8, I think it's mid-school, I think they're covered by the high school, so after because it's coded, so I can't tell from here, but I'll mark it when I do the minutes.
Oh, okay.
But 7 and 8 are, 7 is high school, and 8 has a mixture, I think, of high school and non-high school.
Okay.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. DiGiacchino?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy? Yes, and abstaining.
right, yes, and abstain on the health care.
Mrs. Lees?
Yes.
Mrs. Tolbert?
Yes.
Ms. Virtue?
Yes.
Ms. Birch?
I want to abstain on 1, which is the budget, and yes on everything else. That I see.
And Mr. Palmer?
Yes. Okay, I'd like to go back to number 3 on the agenda. It was pointed out I forgot to do the roll call, so if we could do the roll call for number 3
Okay. Number 3
on the agenda. It's just a roll
Just
call.
the opening
Just an
roll
opening roll call.
Oh, okay. Mr. Baker?
Here.
Mr. DiGiorgino?
Here.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Here.
Mrs. Lees?
Here.
Mr. McDonald? Ms. Sui? Mrs. Tober?
Here.
Ms. Virtue?
Yes.
Ms. Birch?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here. Now we'll go to number 10, curriculum.
Yeah, the curriculum meeting. Okay, I got it to work. Okay, the curriculum meeting was held on April 5th, and we met again for the second time and discussed the Latin request numbers. After our meeting, we learned that requests for Latin 1, grade 9, increased from 3 to 9 students. In addition, we also learned that the Latin teacher would be willing to co-seat classes, which means there would be 2 levels in one class. In light of this new information, it is now recommended that we retain Latin by co-seating Latin 1 and 2 at the high school. So presently, we recommend keeping Latin. However, we would continue to review the status of Latin in the future. Next on our agenda was a brief report on our innovative summer reading program. In this program, our students are involved in choosing the books they will be reading during the summer. The way the process works is our English and social studies teachers create a list of worthy books. Students then review these lists and vote on the books of their choice. This is a great way of getting student buy-in and a way to give our students some control over the books they will be reading over the summer. The other thing we just looked over were field trip requests, which all have been approved by the administration.
Oh.
Just because we talk about these numbers and it's easier for everybody to see the requests. And as Janice mentioned, what we're proposing is that the Latin classes could be co-seated for 1A, and you could see the number of requests for those different levels, and this would make a schedule for a full Latin program. So I just wanted people to be able to see that, because sometimes reading the numbers can make it more challenging to read off the paper. Are there any questions about the Latin recommendation? Sure.
No, just thank you to everybody who worked on that. I'm happy to see that we were able to reach out to everybody and come to a consensus, a positive consensus that works out for what's best for, I think, our kids. So thank you.
So going forward, so next year, will we be revisiting Latin again, depending on the numbers?
So I think we always look at our enrollment numbers for all our classes, and Latin would be included to keep looking at the enrollment numbers and see what we need to do, year by year.
Because at one point, I think, because I'm in curriculum, you talked about looking at other languages too, maybe Chinese or something like that, bringing a different language in.
And
Is that still on the plate?
That's still on the plate. We still have the research that we did, surveying the community about what choices people would want for Latin. Michael Catelli, the World Language Supervisor, still has a lot of that information, and we have other ideas that we could do if we were offering an additional language or replacement language.
Now, with the new language lab that we just put up in the media center, which they were talking about how nice it is, can you use Latin in that?
Yes, Michael, I don't know if you and somebody else in the audience wants to make a comment.
Yes, all the languages, all the languages, including our ESL program as well, can be in the language lab. It's really teacher created. That's how the whole module works. So it's really what the teachers kind of design and can bring them in there. And yes, we picked a program that was 100% usable with Latin.
Okay. Did that help with the decision to co-seat those classes, the language lab, or did that not factor into it?
That didn't factor into it.
Though it has differentiation possibilities, I'd say.
Is that the end of the report?
Yeah, that's the end of my report, so I would like to move items 1 to 3 on the, which we show on the addendum.
Thanks for the second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Baker?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, always a question.
Oh, I jumped in.
On number 3, which is the PD, and I know, again, there's a lot of high school, and I just was wondering, because, again, I have to make the statement that Bedminster pays, but we don't vote on that item. But when you have these during the school day, is that, and so this cost is an addition to a sub?
Yes.
Okay. Is there something where, because it seems to be a lot, and maybe that's just me, and I don't know, it could be me, that we have a lot of this section every month, and a lot of it's high school. Is there a percentage that you can do you can take off during the day to do these workshops? I don't know. I know we want to have PD, and we do value that, but sometimes I know we also have to pay for the sub while they're out. What's the policy there? How does that work?
Well, we look at each application individually, and it's vetted for its value. So we don't have a percentage, but if it's valuable, worthwhile, or needed for certification, then it can be something that we would advocate for. But they are scrutinized pretty thoroughly.
Right, so the principal reviews them, and then I review them. If I have any questions, I go back to the principal to figure things out. Freddie and I discuss any that are also of question.
Would the professional developments, a lot of them are over during school? I mean, when else would you be able to take on? They don't offer them at night or sometimes or on weekends, so.
No, and a lot of the ones that you see are $0 are requirements because we're part of, particularly, a conference or an organization that meets monthly, and that's our participation in those.
So it's hard to do it at a different time. You have to do it when it's scheduled
For these.
for these.
So your sub numbers are good. You always look at that too.
We look at everything. Well, just because, we have like Greg said, we have the 2% cap on the tax levy, and, we have a lot of fixed costs. So we do value professional development though, so, it's a balancing act, but yes, everything, especially for small districts, so we do look at everything. And we turn down a lot of requests also.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. DiGiorgino?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lees?
Yes.
Mrs. Stover?
Yes.
Mrs. Virtue?
Yes.
Ms. Birch, item 2?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes. Facilities and operations, we did not have a meeting since our last board meeting, but everyone did receive the facilities update in the weekly report. Just wanted to mention that we did have the open house at the media center since our last meeting, and I think everyone was happy to see the outcome of that. Just want to make note that the special education area in the former library is under construction, and it's currently on schedule and is progressing well at this time. So I hope I can continue saying that it's on schedule, and we'll report at the next meeting.
Good contractor, very
Yes,
good.
so I would like to move motions 1, 2, and 3. If there's anything on the addendum. 1 through 3. Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Yes.
Me again, sorry. Okay, number 3, the district calendar, when you decided, because of the snow day, we had to cancel that, then you actually changed it to the delayed opening. And I think it's just something, if we could just check with Bedminster, because I know there's an issue with whenever we have a delayed opening, because what happens is we have the high school students go first, and then we have the same buses come back and they get the younger kids. So then when they have to switch it around, there's a timing issue. So if we could just double check with Jen on that, that'd be great.
So we made that decision because our association asked us to work with them, and that's why we did that, and we will continue to do that. I mean, we would advise Bedminster, but we absolutely would work with our Teachers Association as well as our parents.
And I hope you would consider Bedminster too.
But we would do that after both of those. just to
Okay,
be
just,
clear.
if you just talk to them and just try to consider that, because what
No, I
happens is our
understand.
students are dropped off early,
No,
and
I
we have to
know.
have somebody there, so there's difficult
I know,
on him
it's-
too.
I know
So
it's
we
a
want to make
balance.
sure it's a joint project.
Well, we're the regional district or the sending district.
I
So
know,
would
but we do
still-
want to, we do want to care about the sending.
We do care about
We
you,
want
but
you to.
but we do
We do want you
prioritize,
to.
I have to be
I
clear
understand, but I
that-
do want you to care too.
Right, we do care.
Thank
but we
you, thank you very
prioritize.
much.
Is there a plan on we talked about reaching out to the neighborhood. Is there any update on how we will go about that or any plan of action?
I think we need, when we have our next
That
specific, I
F&O
think when we have our F&O, that would have been on our agenda for this one. I think we need to schedule an F&O meeting before our next one. Because there's a number of things I know that we need to talk about. And forming that neighborhood ad hoc kind of committee that we discussed at the last meeting. So I think we need to move forward with that.
So do you want to make that?
Yeah, before May 10th, we should have.
That's
Okay.
soon enough, yeah, it's pretty soon.
Yeah, okay. And we have a few other issues I think we need to bring up in F&O. Any other questions or comments on F&O? Is there a second? Okay, comments or questions?
Yes, we do have to have a policy meeting and talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have one in May, but, because we just got back from break, so really wasn't any time to do it. And also there was the discussion last meeting about possibly talking about cuts, so I'm trying to time everything.
No, not that, it was about the private schools, I mean the homeschool.
Oh, about, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, so we have to have one, I'm just trying to get it all together so that we maximize our time. These policies are the ones we have to get in for the state, and there weren't any options. And we have to provide a statement of assurances because they keep changing the policies every couple months. So I wanted to put these separate so that when we have our policy meeting, we're talking about things that we can actually do, and we don't get bogged down with things that we have to do. So I'm just trying to put them all together. So Kathy's, I think we're gonna try for the second week in May, because things should be cleared up by then. So you should be getting an email from her by Friday.
And this also has the use of the school facilities that we
Yeah.
changed.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Sorry, I lost my, are we on?
We're on policy.
Okay, Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. DiGiorgino?
Yes.
Mrs. Hoppy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lees?
Yes.
Mrs. Tover?
Yes.
Ms. Virtue?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes. Personnel.
Okay, the Personnel Committee met last week on April 18th. And among other personnel matters, we discussed approving a job description and title change for the business administrator assistant to assistant school business administrator, which is in line with what the state would certify in order to allow that individual to work towards a business administrator certificate. This has no impact on the salary of the position. Therefore, I would like to move items 1 through 13.
For a second? Kathy, second. Any questions or comments?
Explain that a little bit, please.
Well, the assistant to business administrator for the school district would like to work towards getting a certificate for becoming a business administrator as well. So in order to do that,
Can you hear back there?
oh, I'm sorry, the assistant, Nancy's assistant, wanted to go towards getting a certificate for being a school business administrator. But her title that she had was not in line with what the state would count as a position that could go for that with the certificate.
It's not recognized by the state for certification, so
we just wanted.
So we wanted a title change that's recognized by them so that she can get her certification. And we should have a recognized title anyway. That should really be the secondary reason.
What is her title? Is that title gonna be backfilled? This is just a,
This is the one, Assistant School Business Administrator is the one that the state recognizes, and what do we call it?
Business Office Assistant.
Right.
oh,
But it's
Is
okay.
this gonna be
Not in line
something
for-
though that we do and then
No, we're not
a
asking
year,
for money.
2 years down the line, well, this person's not being paid what other assistant school business administrators are being paid. I'm a little confused as to why we're changing the title.
So she, so that the person
I
we have in.
understand what you're saying.
No, the first reason we're doing it is because if, we should have a title that's the state.
Why did we do that before though? I don't get it.
I don't know why we didn't do it before, but that's, if we want to have a title that's recognized by the state, the one that we're proposing is the one, and the secondary reason is that the person who is in the job is looking to do that. So, if we chose not to do it, then, that would be fine, and we would just hire another person when she left, because she would have to leave to get a position. So it's, you know, if there's no money attached, a year or so down the road, the only thing we would be looking for is that person would be in line for a raise like anybody else. So the only reason we want to do it is because she needs to get certified by the state in order to become a business administrator. I'm not sure why we never had that position, but apparently you had it, you did away with it.
You understand? I just don't know.
No,
I don't want to get
understand.
into the practice of changing other positions for
people.
For individuals
Right.
to, so.
My opinion, though, as a superintendent, which has nothing to do with the person involved, is that every position we have should be one that the state recognizes.
Shouldn't this have been, Mike,
So,
I'm not understanding why this wasn't done a long time
Well,
ago.
His
Yeah.
question is, he has a good question, because he's saying that this, for example, if we change this position
Right.
and she leaves,
right.
and do we have to now fill this position, and then what is the salary level for that
We
position?
determine that.
Oh, there's no
No.
set, oh.
No, we would determine that.
I mean, we have it in the past, we have, when the last two people
So
retired.
basically, you're saying that,
Entry-level position.
right, and so basically saying, we're just talking about the name of the position.
But it's
That
entry-level.
is recognized by the state.
Yes.
But we are calling it something different that's not recognized by the state, so we really should be up to snuff.
And I guess this only came up when
Change it.
she wanted to go for
Yes,
this. And it-
yeah.
What number is this?
And that's when we realized,
It's on the agenda.
But you're saying the work
But
she
we
does
set the,
is,
yeah.
the
She
work
does-
she does today, she does assistant,
Yeah.
SBA
Yeah, we
work.
just don't have it titled in recognized fashion. So, but as far as salary, to your point, if she left and we brought somebody in, you, the board, would set the salary.
Does this open up a lot of employees, a lot of different positions? Does this open ourselves up to other people wanting to come forward, change my title so that I can get another
All of our titles
certifications?
should be recognized. They should. So if we need to review that, we should review it. But there's not money attached. It's that all titles should be recognized, just like for the teaching staff, you're coded. So what you teach is a code. So we should have jobs in all of the offices and personnel that are recognized.
But this was an assistant, this was not, what was the
Right.
title? What is the title currently?
Business Office Assistant.
Right, instead of
So that's what
assistant
she's
business,
doing.
instead of but she's the assistant to the business administrator.
The other advantage, though, is, to have somebody that could fill the position upon my eventual retirement is extremely useful to the school district. So it puts her in a place where she will begin to receive more training that will allow her to fill that position. Something, you may not want to do that, but.
I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in
I'm just telling you that's.
approaching it that way, that the second person in line automatically has first dibs to that job. That's
That's
not
why
what
I
we do,
did-
that's not what we should do.
Right.
And to even suggest that is.
Well, I'm just saying, it
But-
gives her some training.
But that's not why I'm saying that, that's the job that she's doing.
And
She's the assistant to the business administrator, we're just not calling it that. So, I mean, you know, if we don't do it, we don't do it.
It's a title change to align with state.
Yes,
Title.
that's exactly what it is, nothing more, nothing less, there's no extra money attached. A year from now, there's no extra money attached. She'll come up for a raise, just like every other confidential employee comes up for a raise.
And if that position gets vacated, we decide.
You decide what the
that-
new person coming
Right.
in, as we have
Depending
always
on their
done.
experience,
Right.
whatever.
And we keep it at a level too, because it's an entry-level position, so we've done that with the previous people too.
So there's no ulterior motives going on here. There's just, I just want to put it
So
out
we're
there.
just
There's
changing
nothing
the
else
title
going
to
on
be in
except
line
the
with the
change of
state.
the-
Janice, my crystal
It's
ball
just- it's
broke,
just a
I don't
double-
know that there's what's
just
going on.
question.
Well, that's why I said.
I gotta get a new one, and I still haven't gotten out to the store to get it yet, so I don't know.
Another administrative position.
So as it applies to the job description, where it says that a valid New Jersey certificate of eligibility as a SBA, she has that.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the first step of getting, is that the school business administrator, this certificate?
Yes.
It's like you take a class, you just, how does that work? I guess I'm asking too much detail, but, so she has all these
Yes,
qualifications,
so,
she
but-
just didn't have the title.
Yes, so she can't move forward, and it has nothing really to do with that person. It came up because of that person, but our position should be in line with what the state recognizes, and that's really the beginning and the end of it.
And this is what the state says for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can pay whatever we want to pay. You can pay high, you can pay low, you can pay in the middle, but we should all have, just like everything should be in policy, everything should be recognized by the state. Otherwise, it's make-believe.
Where else are we not recognized by the state?
Well, I don't
What
know,
are the
we have to
titles?
look at the,
Can we do this all at the same time? Can
well,
we look at what
yes,
all
we
these
can do that.
titles
It's an
are? and then-
excellent summer project.
I would-
No, it is, I mean, I'm
Yeah, I would
serious.
prefer to do it all at once, and then so we're
All the
consistent, so that we're not
non-certificated, I agree.
grooming a person and
Has nothing to do with
basically,
that.
well,
Yes.
Nancy had alluded to that, but I
Well,
don't.
it comes up.
I'm just saying it's good to have something.
Yes, but I think that
that's
it's a
all.
great summer project, that we can
That's
look
what you-
at everything.
You weren't raised this year. Not you. I was told that Ray would never, you could never replace Ray, and
Oh,
we
everybody's
replaced Ray.
replaced.
Somebody that's very competent.
But we'll do it in the summer, that's when we have some downtime, we can review all the non-instructional.
We want to be consistent.
Yeah,
So that it's not,
Yeah. And then you
Just
shouldn't
one
change
person.
them though, that's what happens, is that then they get changed because of a person. The title should always be the title, period, and the certification should always be what you need for that title, not the reverse, not where you're trying to maneuver to make somebody fit a position.
Understood.
Any other questions or comments?
roll call?
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. DeGuino?
So yes, I'm going to vote no on 3, just because I think I prefer to do it when we.
You need no on
We're
four.
doing that on the 4.
4?
Four.
4, I'm sorry.
And I think you want to vote on 5 too.
Yes.
Mrs. Lumpy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lees?
Yes.
Mrs. Tober?
Yes.
Ms. Virtue?
Yes.
Ms. Birch?
Yes.
It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 13.
That's the other,
I think it's just, the only ones leaving out is 1, 2, 3, and 11.
okay, yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes. Next item is public questions and comments. This is the portion of the meeting where you can ask a question or comment on any subject. So if there's anybody in the public, please come up, say your name and address.
Jennifer Walsh, 56 Crestview Drive in Burnsville. And I know it was like pushed off or it's not going to be discussed tonight, but since I'm here and I waited so long, I just want to address the idea of the cup policy. And just as background, I'm a 1989 graduate at Berners High. My husband's a 1988 graduate at Berners High. And for both of us, sports, like either in or out of school, was a huge, huge part of our lives. And I just have always had the feeling here that academics is number one and sports is like somewhere in the corner. And it's such a huge part of kids' lives and shaping the people they're gonna be in the future. that obviously that's being discussed. They probably, like, I feel bad for the sports program. I don't think they get the support they need. They probably need more coaches. They probably need more money. And it's awesome that we just put a $3 million tech center in the school, but that's all material items, like an object, versus the lessons these kids learn through sports will carry them through their lifetime. When they lose a job, what are they gonna do? They're gonna think back and be like, oh, Coach Sims, I remember him in practice telling me, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And like, the thought of like, I just don't know if the emphasis is here in the school. And the lessons that these kids learn through sports, you cannot teach in a classroom. There's just no way to do it. And I went to 4 years of college, I went to 3 years of graduate school, hundreds of thousands of dollars of my education. Most things I pull from every single day is from my lifetime experience swimming. Every single day. It's not from what I learned in the classroom. Like nothing almost. Like it's always from what I learned through sports. And I'm just putting it out there because I know it's gonna come up again, and I know the sports are always struggling. They don't have what they need. And I think it's awesome that we have these beautiful material things. It's so great for our kids, but the things that pull these kids through are the lessons that they get through being on a team, being with their friends, even if they're staying on the bench. They're not downtown like doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Instead, they're on a bus going to a game. And like that just kind of what differentiates us a little bit from other schools in the area. That when people move to Burnsville, they're like, I know my kid can play. I know they can participate. And like the troubles that form when they're not participating, you can't even like predict like going down the future when kids are not allowed to be a part of something. I just want to put it out there since I sat here for a couple hours, but it's just a huge part of our school, and it's something that really makes our school special and has for years. And just like, I think it's like a big thing to consider. And I just think they need all the support they can get. All these coaches, the programs, the AD, they just need the support because it's like what forms these kids in the future. And you can sit in a classroom all day long and you're just not going to get it from there. It's just what they're going to draw from in their future experiences. And you can't teach that in a classroom. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I just want to piggyback off of what she was saying. I'm Louis Romano, I'm in Burnsville. My kids are in middle school, and when I go to the sports stuff that my kids do, lacrosse, everything like that, this is all I hear from parents. And they're complaining. If you're getting a couple emails now, that's nothing. If they knew they could send you emails to complain, you would get them. You saw some here. I understand the situation, and I understand from a coach's perspective, because I help coach some of these kids. There's a lot of safety things you have to think of, so that always comes first. And so whether it be football or other things, we think of safety, put the kid in a winning position, and you know what, there are times we're playing teams where I even have to tell a kid, we just cannot play you right now, here's the reason why, and we have that up front with the parents, whether it's they sign a waiver or whatever. I know there's money at stake, I know it costs them the $400 to run one bus for one home game or whatever, and I know some of the challenges lacrosse has maybe today. But Coach Sim, just to let you know, in 5th grade, right now the 5th graders, 6th graders, they have 4 teams just from a club perspective, so it's gonna ebb and flow. You may have a ton of kids in lacrosse now for boys. There's some grades where we just have 20 kids. There's some, and I know it's a combinational, but some of the things are gonna ebb and flow. These kids get into trouble with the technology. I do all I can right now to get my kid always doing a sport. If he's not in a sport, I got him over at G Fitness 2 days a week. When I don't, he only gets an hour or 2 of homework a night, you know, right now. He's upstairs, what's he doing? He's playing with the gadget, he's causing trouble, he's at his sister's throat all the time, you know, I have 2 of the same. The kids need to be involved in something, and safety is first. Coaches have a heart. I'm telling you, believe me when I tell you, I go to these games, I'm sick of hearing it now. They're taking away this and that. I really think you gotta think about it strong. To me, it's not a battle worth winning. You know, there's other fronts. I mean, I could bring up other things that I think you should be spending money on with education, but I don't know if this is one of them, and Jen, I know, hears it too, but I want to see the game. I'm tired of hearing these parents complain. Oh, my kid may not be able to play now, or whatever. Well, you know, I mean, so, that's just my 2 cents. Sorry about that, but I thought I'd share it, right, Jen?
Thank you for your comment.
No problem.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Heather Santoro from 3 Louise Lane, Gladstone. Heart beats a little fast every time I get up here, but thank you for allowing me to speak. I did not have any intention to, but 2 things caught my ear this evening. One, I'm so excited about the co-seating for Latin. Being a graduate of Bernard's High School in 1994, having gone through 6 years of Latin, co-seated, I think it's awesome. I think co-seating is such a great experience for kids to be involved with upperclassmen, and I just think that I'm so glad to hear you made that decision and that the program can go forward, you know, for now, and hopefully it will continue in the future. I didn't know that they were speaking about the Bedwell Garden tonight, but as I sat there listening, it brought tears to my eyes because I just have to let you know the impact that that garden has had on my daughter. I have a 4th grader, and for 2 years now, she has gone to Mr. Mack's room every single day during recess for a lot of different reasons. One is recess is hard for her. It's hard for her to go out on that playground, socialize. She's not very athletic. And that has been such a safe spot for her. I'm sorry, I get emotional about this, but it has been such a safe spot for her to go to. And she has found her comfort and even a leadership position within the group of students that go there to help Mr. Mack plant and take care of animals. And I have to say, for the last 2 years, without that, I don't know that her experience would have been the same at Bedwell. So it has had such an impact on our life personally. And then also just the experience of having all the kids. You will walk in that school, and in the springtime, they're grabbing you by the hand to run out and show you the praying mantis nest that is about to hatch. And then you go home and you have to get your own praying mantis nest. Or I can tell you my kitchen has now been turned into a greenhouse because Izzy said, you know, we've got to start planting seeds. We have 2 bunnies. We have to grow our own garden to feed our bunnies. And, you know, so the impact of that has been amazing. Educationally, socially, and I think that, I know that the 4 people that you saw tonight worked tirelessly on that garden. And I know Jen and Dinah, and their kids are moving out of Bedwell. So that's definitely 2 resources whose time will, I don't want to speak for them, but I'm imagining will be reduced in there. So if I could just implore you guys to keep that in your thinking and just ways that we can continue to incorporate that. It sounds like Mr. Mack has said that this is a huge jumping off place for this garden, no pun intended, but to really grow. So, you know, maybe it is a pun intended, but, you know, I couldn't not speak about it because it really has been instrumental in Isabel's life. I have a kindergartner, and I want to see her have the same amazing experiences. I have to tell you, I've actually gone there. I had to go pick up my kids over. Isabel, I was waiting for her during the summer, one of the summer programs, and I brought my book, and I tried to weed, but I'm not an expert gardener, so I was afraid to pull out things that I shouldn't be pulling out. So I ended up sitting and enjoying my book out in the garden. And it's just a lovely place, but the educational, you know, aside from that, the educational benefits are so tremendous. The hands-on learning is, you know, we've heard a lot about technology and getting the kids to, you know, really engage in different ways. And for so many kids, I think that this is just amazing. So, just want to let you know. Thank you.
They'll be happy to teach you how to weed, I'm sure.
I know. I know. I brought I will get out there for sure. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to Strategic Planning Committee. Just an update on the strategic plan. We had our first planning meeting. We had, I think about 35 stakeholders come to the meeting, listed our strengths and weaknesses. It's all listed on the website. Our next meeting, our next planning meeting is May 2nd. So anyone that's interested in being part of the planning process, we have a meeting at 7 o'clock in the Media Center. So we're well on our way to putting a plan together. So we had our first meeting. Next meeting is the 2nd, and then the third meeting, I think, is the 15th, May 15th at 7 o'clock at the Media Center at the high school. And if you can't make the second meeting, that will also be posted on the website, and you can catch up to where we are and come to the third meeting. So any questions on the strategic planning? Okay. Next would be supplementary matters. Oh, sorry.
I
Is
just
it
want to say,
supplementary or?
supplementary, yeah, I just want to say a couple words. The name Pat Riley was brought up tonight by Mr. McCarron. His help in building that greenhouse. I just need to say that Pat Riley's fingerprints are all over this school district over a lot of years. The wrestling program that is second in school wins, 19 wins. Pat's fingerprints are on that because he coached wrestling for many, many, many years. He came back 7, 8, 9 years ago. Lou is very well aware of this. He works hard. He treats all those kids like they're his own kids. He's so proud of them. He's coached football for many years. He's coached baseball for many years. He's helped throughout the school district with a lot of different things. And I just want to say thank you again and not that I know there's a lot of people who don't give a lot of time, but Pat's name was mentioned tonight, and I do know he was very involved in the wrestlers, and he's got a heart bigger than all outdoors, and he's done an awful lot for this school district, and I think he deserves a big, huge thank you for, not that he's going to stop doing stuff, but he's done an awful lot for this district.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, I didn't get a chance to thank Mr. McCarron, and I think it was Meredith that was with it, the teacher, and the two parents. It wasn't 3 parents.
2 parents.
But I have seen that garden firsthand, and I've watched it grow over the years, and it really is phenomenal. So it was fantastic for them to come and present it here. And I hope people that are at home that are going to watch this on YouTube or wherever they watch it, I hope they really get to see that, because it is magnificent. And what you said, it all coincides, and it all is educationally sound. And, socially, emotionally, there's just so many components to it. So, and by the way, I have purchased those vegetables on that little cart.
Well, you can thank your board member, Mrs. Tober, because she's the one who asked if we could present it and pulled it together for the presentation.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
So I just have a housekeeping question.
Sure.
And it's about Board of Ed members' participation at the meeting. I know in Bedminster, and I could be wrong, but we have, I think, a policy where you can't miss more than 2 or something. Because I'm thinking about the summer. I think everybody probably is making plans. What is the policy here for a board member attending meetings? How many meetings can you miss in a row or in general? Is there a policy for that?
It's usually 3,
Yeah.
but the board has to decide after the 3rd if they want to take action. It's 3 consecutive, but the board would have to decide if they want to take a particular action against the board member.
Okay. So it's really up to the. So it's really up to the board.
I wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3, but
It's
you
3.
remember 3.
How about if you're away in the summer? That's.
Do you guys have meetings in office?
We have one in August, but not in July. Yeah, for that very reason.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know.
Any other supplementary matters? Bob?
Just remind people, on Saturday, we have our electronic recycling at the high school parking lot, the high school, and and all three schools have accumulated a lot of electronic waste, so everybody in the Somerset County can bring the waste there because the county's providing the recycling, and the Burnsville Road Department will be doing the heavy carrying, and the volunteers will be directing traffic from 8 to 1, and you can get a free tree. We'll be giving out free trees. I think we have 500 trees. If you have a garden, you can get a free tree.
What kind of tree?
I'm not sure. And anybody who has a well, we have well water testing kits that you can purchase. For the low is like, I think $30, $40 to see if your well water is clean enough. If you want to get everything tested, I think is $100. But the basic, to see if you've got any E. coli, if you got too much nitrogen, you've got lead, they can do that testing. So we're going to hand those out too. So Saturday from 8 to 1. And it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yes. Anyone else? We're gonna have maybe 5 minutes of executive session. There won't be any action taken when we come back out. So,
Motion adjourned?
we'll adjourn after the executive.
No,
Thanks.
don't adjourn.
Motion to go into executive.
Motion to go